Hello everybody and welcome to the 10th video in our series of videos on the age of exploration. So in our previous video we looked at the Aztecs and their way of life, and today we are going to look at the fall of the Aztecs at the hand of Hernan Cortes, who had a bit of a helping hand from European diseases. As always, we start with our learning outcomes, so by the end of this presentation you guys should know who Hernan Cortes is and who Montezuma are. You guys should know 5 key events about the defeat of the Aztecs, and you guys should know a consequence of the defeat of the Aztecs. So after Columbus's discovery of America, Spanish adventurers began to explore the new land looking for gold, God, and glory. Cortes himself, he had settled in Cuba, and while there, he took to studying the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire is based in modern Mexico. He realized that the Aztec Empire was not a united empire, and that they had many city-states, and their empire had many unhappy citizens within it who were not fully under the control of the Aztecs. So Cortes volunteered to put together an expedition to try and capture some land or some of the Aztecs' riches. He landed at the port here of Veracruz, as you can see circled. He landed with 500 men and 11 ships, and when he landed he burned 10 of the 11 ships as a sign that the men couldn't turn back. There was one ship left there that could bring back news to Cuba, where he'd left from. So when they initially landed, they started fighting with some local tribes such as the Tlaxcala, as you can see, who are circled here. However, the people of the Tlaxcala decided, instead of destroying the 500 Spanish, that they would ally themselves with the Spanish in an attempt to fight the powerful Aztecs. So many of these people, like the Tlaxcala, were unhappy under the Aztecs, as they had to pay like heavy taxes, and some of them were taken into slavery. So in November of 1519, Cortes and the Spanish, along with 20,000 natives, mainly Tlaxcalans, entered the city of Tenochtitlan. The Spaniards were in awe of this city. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was larger than Paris, the biggest city in Europe. It had wide streets, it had boats traveling in canals throughout the city, it had aqueducts to carry clean water, they had beautiful buildings and spotless streets along with a working sewage system. The Aztecs, they could have obliterated the Spanish right there and then, but their ruler Montezuma invited them in peacefully, wanting to get to know them further. They were welcomed until Cortes took Montezuma prisoner after hearing some of his men had been attacked back at Veracruz. The Aztecs considered Montezuma their emperor like a god, and for 7 months they tried to come up with a plan to rescue him so that he wouldn't be harmed. Montezuma went to the people of the Aztecs and begged them not to attack the Spanish because he feared for his life. The Aztecs were disgusted at Montezuma, who they saw as a god and who was now just acting as a puppet for the Spanish. The Aztecs did launch an attack, and Montezuma was killed in the fighting. The Spanish blame the Aztecs for it, saying that they killed them as revenge, and the Aztecs blame the Spanish, saying that they killed them when the attack started. Either way, the Spanish were defeated and driven from Tenochtitlan. A lot of the natives who had helped them, the Tlaxcalans, were murdered. Most of the Spanish were murdered. However, Cortes survived. He retreated, and he managed to assemble a force, this time of around 200,000 from the tribes who were under the Aztecs' rule, who were not happy. He built 13 ships and they attacked Tenochtitlan. However, the Aztecs had been severely weakened before the battle, not by the Spanish or their allies, but by one of the deadliest aspects of the Columbian Exchange, disease. Around a third of the population of Tenochtitlan died before the attack due to the spread of European diseases like smallpox. Imagine 1 in 3 people in the city dying of some unknown disease, and the chaos that would cause. And then, on top of that, having an army of 200,000 attacking the city. There was a massive battle, which may have been the most bloody battle in history up to that point. in 1521. But eventually the Spanish and their allies, they took the city of Tenochtitlan, and they could only take it by completely destroying the city. So this was the end of the Aztec Empire. We will be looking at the biggest consequences of Spanish conquest as a whole in a later video. But for the Aztecs, the main consequences were that the diseases continued to spread and wiped out, decimated the population. Also, Tenochtitlan was destroyed. The Aztec Empire never really recovered. It never got back its power. Its population was completely destroyed. Its power base completely destroyed. And finally, the modern city of Mexico City was built over the ruins of Tenochtitlan. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. So by now you guys should know who Hernan Cortes is, the man who was responsible for defeating the Aztec Empire. You guys should know who Montezuma is, the last leader of the Aztec Empire. You guys should know 5 key events about the defeat of the Aztecs. So where Cortes landed, his alliance with the local tribes, his capture of Montezuma, he's been driven out of the city, he's returning with 200,000 troops, and the eventual defeat of the Aztecs, primarily due to the impact of disease. And finally, you guys should know a consequence of the defeat of the Aztecs, as were listed before: mass population destruction, Mexico City being founded, end of the Aztec Empire, and the destruction of Tenochtitlan. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys got something good from this video.